Welcome, my friends. This is Maniacal Incorporated, welcoming you to an episode on this series for the last time. I don't want to make it seem like I'm eager to finish this series or that I'm sick of it or anything like that. I've put forward my reasons for eventually wanting to end this series in the past, predominantly the fact that I don't want to do too much before the game is updated a lot, such as before the Pope is put in as the head of insular Christianity. We're also beginning to see some bugs creeping in. This is a save file that I started in, would it be 1.0. We're now up to, I think it's 1.2.1. Armies have stopped moving randomly. We have a couple of other issues and things like that. So I don't want the game to end on a bug. I don't want something to happen to end this game. I think this is episode 50, and we have progressed through just over 200 years. That means it's going to take another 100 episodes to get us through to the 1400s, and I know that there are a few of you who would watch those next 100 episodes. Thank you all very much for the support that you've shown so far. But you know what? I'm happy to bring the series to an end where we are. Who knows what will happen in the rest of this episode? But I'm not the kind of person who's too into painting the map, so the idea that we would... What would we do? Well, we'd obviously conquer our son's holdings here in... where is he? Upper Lorraine. We're having a fight with him at the moment. We would attempt to restore, we would conquer the insular Christian lands down here. Then we would probably push down into this weakened area, conquer all of West Francia, continue pushing down into Spain while it remains weak, and then just push across into here and just paint the map. Ireland everywhere. I'm not really interested in that. So, in the last episode, we managed to form an empire. I was pushing towards another achievement, which is the a holy order, so we need to build a city. I accidentally built a city, or started building a city here in Drogheda. I tried to abort the construction numerous times. It wouldn't. There's another one of the bugs. I'd much rather have built the city here in Kildare, but we can see that quitting out of the game and coming back has gotten rid of that city, so we can actually now come to Kildare, construct new holding, and you are already constructing a city in this county. So if we come back, there it is, still under construction, but now it's disappeared. Again, like I said, we have a couple of bugs. And I don't want this series to end with 5 years running down and that city not being there and we can't found a holy order. So it's possible I'm not going to get to found a holy order today. And I'm much happier to just let this series, after all that we have achieved, that's what we had day one. That's what we had day one. We were under the vassalization of Alloch. And now we have spread as far as there. And we have pushed insular Christianity. It's not doing great. But we've pushed it onto the continent. Our son has let us down a bit. We're coming down to have some words with him. Tiny holdings there. This region was once predominantly insular Christian. It was even over into northern Italy. We've done good. We've done good. As soon as we start the game, there's going to be a spate of marriage acceptances. There's going to be a spate of conversions. I think there's a couple of prisoners to be released or to come under our service as knights. This guy. Oh, god damn it. Aoife Maccarlus of Essex, he killed... Can we bring it up? How many of these did he kill in the battle for these 4? Killed in the battle for England. A mayor, a knight, his first day on the job. Mancoin, one of our knights, and our duke, the Duke of Man. I think he was also the Duke of Lancaster at the time. The 4th generation of his family to either die in battle or to die from his wounds. I would have given a duchy to somebody that could have brought me this man's head. Instead, we had to give him a duchy. We had to give him 2 counties. He has seized a position on our council as Marshal. I'm so angry. He seized a position as Marshal on our council, and now, pretty much to cement an alliance, we're going to marry one of our sons and knight, Ruokon. We're going to marry our knight Ruokon to his daughter into House Ceadcach Ipswich. God damn you, Aoife. We still have a powerful faction standing against us. They're not in a position to push their demands. However, it's not going to be too long before they could. We're swaying this guy at the moment. We have him up to 71. I'll actually just check how close we are. Do you know what? We'll let that run down. We'll make one more attempt at swaying him, and then we'll stop, and we'll come to Khosrook's son. So Khosrook was the fourth member, or the fourth generation of his family to die in battle. Here is his son, who took control of Man on his death. So we're going to have to try and appease him some bit. He's the least happiest of these guys. Plus 56. He's the least happiest of these guys who are rebelling against us. Another reason I'm happy enough to bring this playthrough to an end is because the Imperial succession is a mess. And what we'll pretty much have to do is we will have to go through a succession. So Arcade will have to die, then somebody will replace him, then they will die, and then we can probably start sorting out the counties. What I would like to try to do, our son is currently in line for England, I believe. And with the succession up in the air, what I would like to try to do is see if we can secure his election as Emperor as well as King of England. So I think he's going to win that election for England. He's not in line yet for the Imperial title. We'll see how that pans out. To sort out all of the titles and to do the things with them that I want to do, I think it would cost somewhere close to 3,250 to 3,500 prestige. So we would need to remove Tanistry Elective from the Kingdom of Ireland. We would need to add Tanistry Elective to the Kingdom of Alba. And then maybe change England as well to Tanistry Elective. So that would cost about 3,500 prestige. So yeah, that's not going to be happening. Maybe even more. And that would create a scenario where the Empire of Ireland and the Kingdom of Ireland would travel to the same person, and then the other titles would be elective. But at the moment, I think the Empire of Ireland, the Kingdom of Alba, the Imperial capital in Dublin and Meath, they'll go to the same person. So it's a confused scenario at the moment. Greetings, my perceptive liege. Don't you give me that. Don't you give me that. Here is, I have a ton of knights being married off to people. So here is the Archon of Corsica. We have tried to marry one of our knights to his daughter. We said, Archon, give us your strongest daughter. And he said to us, you can't handle my strongest daughter. So, I think we just got an acquaintance. Member of the House Ruorkid. Delighted with himself. In the background, we can see the armies marching south to fight our son's army. Of course, he's rebelling, and then we need to head for Toulouse. One of our prisoners from the last battle has accepted vassalization, Cathal Fitzpatrick. But up in the top left, we just got to pop up Bran Macrian. His father was Ridovna. He was being nominated for the High Kingship at one stage under Ruokon when he was killed in battle in Scotland. The Swedish, they duped us. They went out to sea, got around one of our forces, came in, surprise attacked the army that Rian was leading as a siege engineer. Here he is. One of Moltoli's sons. Military engineer, slain in battle by Duke Ulfr II Matson. I'm sure he's long dead. I think he's not long dead. I think he died very shortly after Rian did 1022. And Rian was 1017, yeah, so he didn't live too much longer. But poor old Bran, another individual we considered for the High Kingship because he was an intricate web weaver, he has drank himself to death at just 57 years of age. And we have gotten a pop-up that our son, Dovdal Leha, is indeed our new player heir, so he will be elected as the Emperor and as King of England. Somebody has accepted a marriage proposal to that knight that we just hired. Like I said, there's a lot of those pop-ups. Which of these, are any of these two armies commanded by our son? There he is. There he is, the devil. And I think they know that we're coming for them. I'm not too sure where they're actually going to. Do I have both armies there? I do. So we were going to head for Aachen to visit it this time, not as attackers, but actually as visitors, as defenders. Like I said, we were summoned into this war and we accepted. Our son has declared an independence war against Lothringia. This is a situation we created. We put our son on the throne. We educated him. He misbehaved. And now it will be the High King himself who will move in against him and teach him a lesson. We'll hold this army back in reserve in case they're desperately needed. But we will march the army with the High King himself in to attack. I cannot tell you how much I hope that our son is captured in battle. If he is captured in battle, he's running away, the devil. If he's captured in battle, we won't ransom him. We will demand his conversion to insular Christianity. He has, of course, abandoned the ways of insular Christianity, converted to Catholicism, and will drag this entire region down. It would be terrible. I would feel sad. But if our son was to die, his brother would inherit the title. And he might sort things out. I will put a... Do we have any actual siege leaders? There's Flann Sinna Uí Néill. We gave him Lothian, I think, in the last episode. Muradach, who we've had for a while. Yeah, we'll throw Muradach in there. So Lothringia's forces are coming up. I thought our son had started sieging somewhere. He had, but I think he's doing a runner. Or he's trying to. We should be able to get into Cleves. Either in line with him, or before him, or after him. It'll be definitely one of those three. I think he might have a massive battle here. He's accepted that he's going to be hit. And Lothringia just turns around and goes away. Ah, it's fine. It's father and son. They're, Just let them fight it out. Just let them fight it out. We captured an earl. The wrong earl, but we captured an earl. The absolute arsehole. He's now started styling himself Prince Joseph. So, he refused my education. I was educating him. And then I think he went and got himself a new educator. A nun. A Catholic nun putting ideas into his head. So he's basically abandoned our court. I don't know. He's gotten queer ideas into his head. We won't be able to hit him because he's still retreating. But we'll march down in this direction. And again, we'll have more words with him. This, I think, is the third child that this family has had. Or the third time I've been asked to name a child. Anyway, I have no idea what word that is, but we won't be playing as this family. If we do have a succession in this episode, it won't be going to him, so it doesn't make much of a difference. While we have the game paused, let's go and check who's doing a good job for us. Mats, Sharif, David, Dovdal Leha. That's a small enough forces. I forgot about that. He got himself wounded again. You're getting yourself wounded a lot. Oh, it's gone again as well, so that's grand. The first scar, I think, went from top left to bottom right, and then the other scar has gone in the other direction. Or maybe he's trying to play a game of like X's and O's on his face. But he's grand. It's healed up. He's fine. Am I right in saying that what you're going to see is our son's forces retreat accidentally into the battle? No, you're not. But the other army has recouped, and we're attacking them first of all. And poor old Erika has died of old age. Oh, somebody else is complaining to us. Erika was one of our knights. To keep him in the army, I gave some land to his son. And then his son took Erika out of the army. Anyway, so it didn't make much of a difference. Did your son have sons? As brave as were their fathers? Well, there's somebody there anyway to succeed. Because I would have been... No, there's not. You have only claims. What county did I give you? I gave you 2 counties. Let's deal with this guy giving out to us first of all. I am losing money hand over fist. I'll send troops to your aid immediately. So we've 12 months to get war score in Toulouse. Our chest of gold. 165. I don't have money like that. I'm going to have to lift that siege at the top and send that army down. That's really the only option we have. I didn't even get a chance to look at that battle. We'll try and send those guys down. So much happening. I thought it would become easy when I became the Emperor. Small enough battle. We seem to have... Did we pick up a knight somewhere? Maybe we did. I dismissed that. So, yeah, let's deal with Erika's son first of all. So, yeah. This devil has taken all of... I don't even know where this is. Huicha for himself. We gave him... I think he had Oxford. And we gave him Berkshire. We gave Erika's son these 2 counties. And now he has revoked them for himself. Just in case anybody is wondering. Our other knight is still doing a-okay. Well, he's not. He was a knight very briefly. So there's Giles. There is his son, Giles, Phil's Giles. Now he's Giles Gileson. And now we have Giles Gileson Gileson, who will one day rule in that area. He's been given the learning education. I think it'll be a while before we get any knights from that family again. It's maybe a bad idea, but I'm going to try and march the Northern Army through France. Is that it? 1 reinforcement. Is that it? 1 knight. That's all we're going to get. So I think these guys have been distracted and they've gone over in that direction. They have now tried to turn around because they know that they're going to get hit by this army here. They don't know what to do. We distracted them long enough that Lothringia can go in against them. Oh, look at our poor son. Prince. Well, look at that. Poor old Thomas. Thomas was in our court not that long ago. Thomas of Saarbrücken. And he's now their top knight. He's our son's top knight. We have an alliance with him. There you go. We're married to his sister, Ricarda, or Ricara. Ricara, king friend. And that's a pity. We only ever meet at Christmas and on the battlefield. Our daughter Condole has come of age. She is betrothed to the heir to the Duchy of Barcelona, and it is through her that we are maintaining our alliance to Duke Ives. As I was going to Duke Ives, we picked up a single soldier. They grow up so fast. Oh, Sean of Surrey is after passing away. Of natural causes. I don't know if Sean had... Oh, I didn't realise it was Sean that killed the... I probably did at the time, that Sean killed the Duke of Cornwall. So, of course, we were going to install this guy as our puppet in Cornwall. His son is still there, of House Barry. And so we had him in our prison, and we had to go into our prison and tell him that Sean of Surrey killed your dad. So here's the hat that we took off his dead body. And now you have to be the puppet ruler of Cornwall for us. Thanks. So, Sean, I was thinking I would love to have actually put Sean... Where's he gone to? How do we find him? I'd love to have put Sean in as the Earl of Surrey, but the problem was that was in my duchy and he would have hated me. Possibly, yeah, if we had killed Aoife in that battle, things would have been different. Also the fact that he didn't have any children. That faction to install somebody in Scotland has all but collapsed. Everyone has left except for Rhys the Devil, who absolutely hates us. Plus 91. These people are terrified of us, including Aoife. So that's handy. He's not going to join any factions because... Oh no, because we're allied. But he is also terrified, I think. Yeah. He's terrified we're allied now. So that was actually maybe a good move. Marrying Ruacon to his daughter. I'm going to stop this sway scheme against one of the two vassals or one of the two guys that were aiding in this faction. And I think there are a couple of people here. Well, there's one. If we sway them, we might be able to get them to accept vassalization. Two people are going to leave the kingdom, and I can't revoke their titles because we don't have high enough whatever at the moment. We might actually build prestige faster now, because of course we're in the feudal age, so armies cost money, not prestige. You can't pay people in experience anymore now that we're feudal. We have to pay them in actual money. So we might actually gain prestige faster, which might let us do some of the things that we want to do in terms of breaking up some of the inheritance laws. And imposing crown authority. I can... Ooh, if we do this now, we could revoke those titles, and it would stop them from leaving the kingdom. You know, I might do that. And we also get extra levies and income. Who could say no to levies and income? I remember saying recently that we'd never be returning to the continent again. We've been on the continent for so long that I have missed what's actually happening over here. The two counties up here in northern Wales, they are independent, and one of them, I can sway him, I think, and we might be able to get him to accept vassalization. Well, if we come and look at him, he's now the Duke of Northumbria. And if we actually look at the history of the Duchy of Northumbria, he was installed very recently, last month, by a faction demand. I have no idea what's after. He's after becoming our vassal. He's held this place. I am right, aren't I? Yeah, he was the guy I was thinking of. So he has been vacuumed into our empire somehow. So the next person who I think would accept vassalization is Prince Moilón of the House of Dálach. So I started a sway scheme against him. He left House Grian Grafadorachta. Here is the head of House Grian Grafadorachta. He died from his wounds, possibly the ones that he received in battle when we raided down this area. His son is the head of the family now, and is also the only male member of House Grian Grafadorachta, so it's on the verge of collapse from what I can see. As a measure of just how disappointed I am in our son, we'll deal with this. First of all, I suppose here is Tovna. She's come of age. We don't have her betrothed to anyone just yet. They grow up so fast. We'll find somebody. We have a war. Your brother's being bold. We're dealing with your brother. But as a sign of just how disappointed in him we are, I've actually split this army. It's under the command of Prince Dovdoleha. Ruacon is a knight in this army as well. And we're going to leave that behind. We're going to send it up here, I think, to cut off Yosef's army. I've started to move down. These guys are going to go by sea. I think they actually came in against the High King's army. So I was sending the High King down as well. Basically, we're abandoning the defense of Lothringia. And we're just going down to Toulouse to deal with whatever's going on down there. Enemy combatants captured. You're getting better. Last time it was an earl. This time it's a duke. It's still the wrong person. So we're just going to send that army way down here to Navarra. They will come down by land. These guys will come down faster by sea. And yeah, we're just going to let the brothers fight it out. So Duke Rory has left the war. We have one of his counts, or his earl, in prison, and we have the man himself in prison. So we'll come to his earl, who's in Dublin. We shipped him out to Dublin, and we will ransom him back to himself for 50 quid. Now a duke. How much money is a duke going to give us? At the moment he has... God damn it, Rory. 2 a month. How many years is he going to be here? 2 years? Just over 2 years. You'd better get comfortable. Because I want some money. It was a small enough encounter, I didn't even realise a battle had started. Mats Strangi. Sharif. David, or David. Dovdoleha, who's a knight in this army with his father, but a commander of the other army. So he's going to be kind of zigzagging back and forth across the place. I don't even know where the army commanded by Yosef is. There it is. So we'll send those guys in. We'll just hold them there for a short while. These guys have onagers. And they have... Does anybody know how to use them? I'm not going back looking. They have onagers. You guys start seizing down the whatever we're at war with, and we'll deal with the army. Duke Flann Sinna. I just gave him Lothian in the last episode, and he's after drinking himself to death. So, one of his sons has become a count, and the other is a duke. Flann Sinna. So, 3 generations of that family died in battle. And then we come to the 4th generation. One of them died in battle, and the other one died in the bottom of a pint glass. Here's our eldest son. He's the heir to Upper Lorraine, so like I was saying, it would be terrible if Yosef was to die. They have another child. Saiv? Sure. It would be terrible, Dovdoleha, if you were to accidentally kill your brother in battle. Make sure that you don't. It looks like we're going to end up fighting them on a bridge. I think they've stopped. So there you go, the 2 brothers. Prince Dovdoleha and Prince Yosef. Cahlon. This is his first day on the job. We've killed one of their knights. The war score ticks up slowly. But yeah, I presume they're going to have to start sieging down some regions, or this war will never end. And I didn't realise the person who was injured was Thomas of Saarbrücken. And the guy that was killed by Ealgal II. His father was killed in battle. And, well, he wasn't killed in battle. I keep saying killed in battle, even if they die from their wounds. but he died as a result of defending the Empire. Did he? Who knows these days? Who knows what side people fought in? No, if he's Munster, he fought for the Empire, all right. And of course, he was Rí royal material. I think what's his name keeps showing up every once in a while. Eilgal II as a potential successor. At the moment, here he is, the heir to the Empire of Ireland. We're just sending him around with a relatively small army in the middle of Europe. How are the rest of the troops doing? The Irish contingent has actually, or the naval contingent has already reached somewhere. We'll put them sieging this region while they wait for the High King to come in with the onagers. And then we'll... Does this guy actually even have any forces? The guy that we're fighting with. Or are all his troops dead? Are we all that's left? I don't see where any of his people are. And oh, there's Sweden. I thought it was maybe Dublin. Sweden. I'd say your days down here are numbered. I wouldn't be surprised. There's somebody trying to kill Empress Waldrada again. I wouldn't be surprised if... Oh, I thought Joseph was running after his father, screaming at him, "Come fight me!" I thought he was actually going to follow us all the ways down to Spain. They've started sieging an area. We're sending in the... Nope, they know we're coming. The other guys might be... They might have locked themselves in though, so Joseph might have locked himself in. Hopefully this will end quickly, because the High King's army is about to reach Spain and start sieging Navarra, and I presume they'll turn around and come up towards us. Do you know what? We probably shouldn't be watching the Battle of Luxembourg. Oh, Thaigmoor has been slain by the Count of Annandale. Where did that battle take place? That's hardly here, was it? No, we gave Thaigmoor some land in the last episode. Ah, Thaigmoor. So, first of all, here, Eilgal II. He's making quite a name for himself. He's after killing 2 knights in 2 battles. But poor old Thaigmoor. I thought for a second what had happened was that the army to the south had been ambushed. I was like, oh no. Let's quickly go south, check what's happening in Spain, and then we'll go and check on Thaigmoor and what has become of Lanarkshire. Down here, the High King has arrived. I'm moving the other army out of the siege just to allow the High King to take over with his superior stats and with his onagers. It's not looking great. It's not looking great. I mean, there's not a lot we can do against that army. If Toulouse, I've no idea where Toulouse is. If they've hardly, like, shoved across here somewhere, have they? They've hardly done something mad. I've no idea where Toulouse and its troops are. Maybe it doesn't have any troops. Actually, I don't think it has. There's 1,600. I have no idea what they're doing. We're being told we have 7,300, and I think we are the troops. I think we are the troops. So this must be what happened to poor old Thaigmoor. There's the Battle of Kilcabright. Here is his liege, the Duke of Lothian, Cuillum Mac Flann Sinna. There's Flann Sinna, who drank himself to death quite recently. And he is attacking Galloway for the Manx claim on the county of Galloway. Oh Lord. We actually come and look at that in its totality. Look at this for a mini civil war. Connacht, Galloway, and Annandale. And it was the Count of Annandale who killed Thaigmoor, the Isle of Man. This family, all they want is land. They keep conquering things. Well, he is the Duke of a one county holding, so I suppose I can't blame him. But Tygmor, the Strahomaski name continues. There's his son. Son? I think so. So there's his son and heir, who is now the new count in his place. The name lives on at the very least. We captured him in... Where did we capture him? Bohemia. Peasant leader. Forced him into our armies. He served in the war for England. We gave him a county. And now he's dead. How did he actually do during his lifetime? He killed somebody in the Flanders army that was serving the King of England. What a mad owl career he had. What a mad owl career. I think he was briefly our marshal as well. I literally just unpaused the game and we were told that the Count of Eschenlohe is dead and the Baba has taken over. We can negotiate an alliance with him. The other thing I've had to do is send the messengers north and tell Dovdaleha basically just to leave your brother alone. He's gotten enough of a baiting. The Lothringer will have to take care of him. I think he's down to, I don't know, he's down to like 200 or 300 soldiers. Where are Toulouse going? They're going out to sea. Where do they actually want to come to? That's the question. Since the High King has taken over, we're progressing through the siege a lot faster. Dovdaleha has been sent to our mini continental holdings to pick up another 200 soldiers. And he's going to have to then... Oh, is he going to march him down or is he going to come by sea? I think he might actually come by sea. Because it's slightly faster from where he is. Toulouse, what are you doing? Look, Toulouse, we're helping. We're getting war score. See? We helped. And we have a martial lifestyle perk. Are you going around the entire... He's going for Alicante. And that's something I also meant to mention, is that we are... If we come down in this direction, we are going to visit regions which were once, Alicante and Valencia, which were once going to be given to Flann Sinna's, the original OG Flann Sinna's grandchildren. His daughter Christina was taken captive by King Helgi of Gardariki, forced into concubinage, and she gave him, I think, 2 sons, who for a brief period of time were in line to inherit Alicante and Valencia. So we're paying a little visit to those regions. Ibiza! Can we hear uns? Any music coming from there? Dovdaleha is going to make a great king one day. I know this because instead of taking the army the faster route out into the ocean or into the water and bringing them around, he's bringing them the long, cheap way. Fair play to him. He's a man who knows what's important. So he's going to be a great ruler someday. I had spoken about switching over onto one of the focuses over here, maybe to try and give the High King a small health boost, aid development growth. I forgot to address that. It's going to be 16 years before we can actually research anything, any new technologies. We need to progress. Now that we have become feudal, we need to progress into the medieval age. So it's going to take roughly 16 years because of our absolutely atrocious development. Or we could come down here to the theology focus and try and go for, I think, I worked it out, about 40 years to get the achievement for the most pious. I don't think you have another 40 years in you. So we'll stay, do you know what, we'll just stay with the Marshal. We could either go for Gallant. He is again back in charge of a couple of armies. Monthly prestige would not be the worst. Now that with the way things have gone. So this is going to basically increase our spouse's opinion and skills from spouse counselor tasks. Not great. Peacemaker, again, I don't see us declaring any actual wars ourselves. I think we're going to be aiding in a lot of wars. Again, not much use to us. But, yeah, let's see if we can just get him another trait. I think most of our recent High Kings have had 2 traits, and this guy is just on the 1 at the moment. The Liberty War, we just got a pop-up. The King of Lothringia has imprisoned our son. So be it. So they must have sieged down the capital. The silly old fool. It'll be interesting to see what happens to him. I presume we'll get a pop-up when he is released. Oh, what are we trying to do here? We're trying to skirt the army around the main forces. They're going to lift that siege shortly. And are we in a position where they might head for us? Somebody else is entering. We're getting more allies in. I think now that that war has ended, we're actually getting a couple of allies in. I don't think these guys know what to do. So we're trying to skirt the army around here, bring them over to aid Toulouse. I'd say they might need it. I'd say they might need it. And here is another pop-up. We'll pause quickly and sort out this big mess. Son was imprisoned. The task is finished to increase county control. I need to sort that out because we need to increase control everywhere. That's another reason I'm just going to leave him on the control focus, is because the Empire is in bits in terms of control. Poor Owl Fulcari Salian. He killed a Prince of Brittany. Didn't notice that, actually. In 1067, in our conquest of Cornwall. He saw how Catholicism was collapsing throughout Europe. He was a crusader. I don't know where his crusade trait went to. And he also was a eunuch. I think that might have happened to him on his crusades. Oh, I didn't make him a count of anything. I forgot about that. I was going to make him a count. He had a daughter. This is why I didn't make him a count, because he married his daughter to a count in Italy, if I am correct. Even though he's Greek. Was I right? I was right. I almost know some geography. And the handy thing for dragging us over here is that we can see... Oh god, it's gone again. Rome was actually restored. The papacy was restored at the start of this episode. Ah, lads, what's going on over here? So the last time that we looked at this region, there was a Nubian Coptic Pope in place. All of these people are still alive. There was a Nubian Coptic Pope in place. Then it was conquered by a populist revolt. Then it was conquered in a holy war. Then the Pope returned. And now this guy has returned. From the Abbasid Empire. I thought... That's probably what killed Fulcari. That's probably what killed him. He was delighted to hear that Rome had been restored to the Pope. And then he was told it's fallen to the Abbasids. And that was enough to finish him off, the poor man. So we're getting in the superior numbers. The problem is, if Toulouse is hit by those 8,000, there's not a hope. We need Toulouse to get out of there. And basically to wait for our other army to come down from the north. If our 3 armies and Toulouse could hit them, we could crush them and then siege this area back down. If Toulouse gets hit, that could be the end of this entire battle. Oh, god damn it, Toulouse. Toulouse has been a constant nuisance. A constant nuisance. They're just... Ah, good. Okay, run. That's it. Come out of there. I think what we'll try to do is maybe just hold our armies... No, I don't know what we're going to do. Are they going to get out in time, though? One way or another, we weren't going to get down to them in time. No. Toulouse, you fools. Like I said, this defeat could actually finish off the entire war, this battle. Let's see how it goes. Down to 60%. Okay, it's not the worst. Somebody is going out to sea. I'm not too sure who that is. We're pulling our armies further north. Somebody's come to us, the Duke of Mercia. One of the new allies that have been pulled in have 2,500, 3,000 soldiers. Just waiting, doing nothing. So we're going to move up to kind of meet them. And then move back south again. The Duke of Mercia is telling us that he has skills in philosophy and theology, and that he can teach us things. Assistance is greatly appreciated. He gets a weak hook on us. I can manage just fine on my own. We get 150 prestige. I mean, we have 420, so possibly we don't need any more. We could both benefit if we pool our knowledge. We gain 3 learning. And then there's a chance that he will either increase permanently his intrigue by 2, or he will get a +3 to intrigue for 5 years. This is the guy that our brother was saying he would help to overthrow. I think we'll take this anyway. We'll just go for the... We can both benefit if we pool our knowledge, and we're taking theology lessons for 5 years. Now this is interesting. They are going out to sea to see what they can see. Our 2,000 forces are coming down nice and slowly. There we can see what we had wanted to do, because that's very well what they could be trying to do, is we don't want to get too close to the coast. We saw Bran Macrian pass away earlier in this episode, and that's how that happened. Or not how that happened, but how his father died. I think we probably want to stay... Ooh, this region is bad for the old supply limit. Yeah, we're going to have to try and cross around here. Because I think that's what they're going to do. They're going to try and deliver a killer blow. They're going to try and catch some of the armies on the coast. We've mentioned him a few times in this episode. Somebody's trying to kill David, or David. We must stop the villain, etc., etc. So yeah, they're actually trying to catch... They're trying to catch Toulouse's army. Toulouse's 11 soldiers. We're going to have to march you down around the mountain. So I think we're going back onto your original track. If these guys came down, what are they at? Oh, Toulouse is not going to get out of there. Toulouse is not going to get out of there. Now our army is standing very close, in a position where it would not be able to retreat fully if they come after us. Our son is telling us he's going to leave the court soon. He has no reason to stay. But we've named all your kids. The forces have stopped here. What I actually got distracted by is, look who has come in. Am I right? Are these the guys I'm thinking of? Or am I wrong? That county. I amn't too wrong, I don't think. This is what's left of... This is what I was thinking of, is the duchy. The crests are very similar, but this guy has red fins, and this guy, who's allied with us, has no fins. Haha. So when you become a duchy, you get to add red fins and a tail. But here is the last remaining true insular Christian outpost in the region. While we speak of insular Christianity, let's go up quickly and check. This old fool has been released. He's still... Is he still the Duke? Yeah, he's still the Duke. And he still has his 2 counties. And a big scar. That'll remind you. I don't know what it'll remind him. It'll remind him something. Ah, we were maneuvering our troops around. We've lost the war. We've lost the war. We gained 97 prestige, 65% contribution. Toulouse, yeah, Toulouse just messed it up utterly. They put their armies in a position, says the man who's done that countless times. They put their army in a position where they could be wiped out. These guys were coming down too slow. Like, look at what we have. They had about 8,000 troops here, and we have 4.5. We have 6, we have 8. So we could have taken them on. We've 10, but no. And there you go. I think that is probably going to be one of the last great campaigns that Arcade will undertake, that the Empire will undertake in this series. Sweden, what have you done? What have you done? I thought that was actually the Kingdom of Sweden for a while. What have you done? So we have a small bit of a scenario, don't we always? Inverness. Here is Countess Sive. Thankfully, she's had some children who will inherit Inverness after... Oh, wait, no. They won't. So I don't think... I think maybe the inheritance laws for this region... I actually have no idea where they've gone to. But the inheritance laws... Male preference, confederate partition. So I think... maybe a woman can inherit but can't pass on a claim. Maybe that's what it's saying. So, so Inverness is going to be lost. I can't revoke it because she is not our direct vassal. Our other slight problem then is this region has split off completely. Now, it wasn't part of our kingdom, but it was part of Lothringia. Then it became independent. I tried to offer them vassalization. They won't accept. I thought they were actually under somebody else. I thought he'd become vassalized to somebody else. No, he hasn't. He's still independent. He'd really want to accept vassalization. Our other problem then is the Isle of Wight. So this Duchess on her, or the Countess on her death, Navarra will inherit. Now, here's the interesting thing. She is allied to mighty Toulouse and Dorset, who also... No, there's Dorset. So, yeah, I'm gonna have to revoke the title. She's in somebody else's prison. There's a 47% chance that she will accept. So we're gonna... I don't think we have a hook on her. We don't. So, yeah, we're gonna have to try and revoke the title one way or another. I'm expecting that she won't accept. But how bad? And now that we are at peace, we can actually see all of my fears really were for... I won't say they were for nothing, but in peacetime we're making 11 gold per month and, what, 5.9 prestige. The armies are regrouping by 345 a month. We've up to 11,000, so maybe I know some changes were made. Maybe all the terror stories about traveling into the feudal era weren't accurate anymore. The ones that I'd heard. So we've some money coming in. So do you know what? We might as well. Holy hell! Parties have gotten expensive. I was going to say we'll hold a feast to celebrate. We'll hold a feast to celebrate. Everything's gotten expensive. Ah, that's inflation for you. Right, we'll hold off a while. We'll get some money together. What I have noticed is that Munster... Oh, Munster, what are you doing? Eilgal has conquered Connacht from the Céad Catach Athenry. So here's Eilgal the First. On his death, it went to 2 brothers. Munster went to 1 brother, Connacht went to another, and now Munster has conquered Connacht, from what I can see. Yeah. And he declared his own family, the Céad Catach Athenry, Lolai, etc., etc. I'm thinking, maybe, of creating a cadet branch for the High King. Considering all that he has achieved, I think that having founded the Empire of Ireland, Urquell would also seek to solidify his name in history and found a dynasty, found a cadet branch, House Scatorum, the House of the Gael. I mentioned in the last episode that Imperator or Imperator Scatorum was a title bestowed on Brian Boru. On a single occasion, in about 1005, he was referenced as Imperator Scatorum in the Book of Armagh. So Urquell will take that as his family name. Emperor of the Irish, head of House Scatorum, Emperor of the Gael, head of the House of the Gael. And of course, what else could we have as our motto other than 50 episodes are not enough? As for the spelling of Scatorum, I'm sure if you look at it very quickly, you might think it says something else. Sometimes you'll see that second T present or absent. I actually don't know which one it is. Sometimes they remove either the first or the second T. I don't know. But you'll often see it as just SCOTO or UM. But I put in the second one. You can't have enough of them. Can't have enough of them. Could have done with another one. That's what I say. We can see the Dáil Byrne holding on there in Brittany. 50 episodes are not enough. And indeed, if we were to go for another 50 or another 100, the conquest of Brittany, bringing that into the Empire, I'll see actually if they'll accept vassalization. I doubt it. These counties won't accept vassalization. I can't see these guys accepting vassalization. But bringing the Dáil Byrne into the Empire, that would be the next goal if we were to continue on for another 50 episodes. Today there are a number of organisations which seek to promote or to resuscitate the Celtic culture, or a shared Celtic culture, or a perceived shared Celtic culture. The Gaelic League, that'll be the Irish language organisation in Ireland. There is the Pan-Celtic League, but there are also talks of, every once in a while, sometimes jokingly, sometimes serious, a Gaelic Union, a Pan-Gaelic Union, a Celtic Union. If we look at this entity, Britannia, Scotland, Ireland, the Isle of Man, Wales, Cornwall, and sometimes even a strip of land here joining Wales to Scotland and turning that into an actual political entity, maybe a federation. Sometimes Cornwall is and isn't included. So there are actually, some people would push for the idea, but not very many. And then there are, like I said, cultural organisations, which include Cornwall, sometimes they include Brittany, and even parts of the Basque region. So what I'd actually like to see, to kind of counter the Britannia, reclaim Britannia nonsense, would be an achievement or a decision for Imperator Scatorum, starting probably as an Irish count, but maybe even in Scotland, or any of the regions. Unite Scotland, Ireland, the Isle of Man, which is part of Scotland, Wales, Cornwall, and Brittany. And then you could declare yourself as Imperator Scatorum, or you would have a decision. And that would be a nice little kind of counterpoint to the Reclaim Britannia decision. I didn't mean for this to happen, but I'm not going to stop it. Irish culture is spreading into northern England and into northern Scotland. There are still holdout Norse areas, one poor old Pictish area left, a couple of Gaelic areas, but they're all basically occupied pretty much by Irish rulers. 14 years before we can actually start researching anything. We're in a position where on the High King's death, you could see the whole thing just collapse. Either external invasion or internal power struggles. It's going to be a long time before we're in a position to actually institute anything resembling stable control. I don't think we can increase crown authority until we have royal prerogative. So it's going to be 14 years before we can start. And it doesn't tell us how long it'll take, but I can't imagine it will be anytime soon. if I was playing on seriously, the reform of the religion would be something that I would look at, or even the creation of a new Christian faith. To get rid of this. The minus 10% dev growth is absolutely hammering us. Our other option would be to go for the Island of Saints and Scholars. And which would be another interesting achievement. Actually, there you go. There's another achievement. Island of Saints and Scholars. Get, as an insular Christian, get the average development in Ireland up to, I don't know, get every county up to 10 or something like that. So, what are we at the moment? That's not how we see what the dev is. So 6. I think the highest on the island at the moment is 8. And you can see here it's growing by 0.0 per month. The only benefit we have is currency, and the negative is pastoral isolation. To get that achievement, you would pretty much need to breed a family of nothing but scholars. I think scholars could overcome that. So there's another interesting one. I might suggest some of these mini achievements at a later point in time. But yeah, no, if I was to continue playing on Beyond Arcade, I'd probably be looking at either converting to Catholicism or reforming the religion, or even founding a brand new faith. I know there's an achievement for it, but I'm dedicated. I am committed to insular Christianity. So I suppose that was to be expected. To my liege, blessings upon you and your house. It seems that there is no recourse, I should probably pause the game, for our dispute other than to settle it on the battlefield. And we're now the head of the Céad Cathach dynasty. Rally the troops. I actually forgot we had some prisoners. If I was really dedicated to insular Christianity, we'd force this guy to convert, but you know what, we'll accept his demand for a release. And there's somebody else in here. He is also asking for the release of, I don't know, is she a relative or anything? His child. 125 quid, thank you very much. We get a reminder that our daughter, Tovna Scotorum, can marry. And this guy is wheezing. He is heir to the Duchy of West Franconia and Bavaria. This guy, the Carling Grandmont family, he's the Duchy, or he's heir to the Duchy of Bourbon, which probably means that his mother is, we had somebody married to you, or had we? Has there been more argy-bargy? So here's my sister-in-law of House Greengraff of Orkta. So yeah, I think that's maybe a bit too closely related. We'll go for West Franconia again. We were at war with them. We made a ton of money off of sieging them a while ago. So we'll accept that proposal. Look at this. We can call our house member Prince Joseph to war. We can call Prince Moelon to war. Of course, we're first in line to inherit Leicestershire. Where are we first in line to inherit Leicestershire again? So this is the daughter of Federigo, and she's been married off to somebody, so hopefully they'll have children, and put another member of the house in charge somewhere. I'm raising the armies in Gwent. We'll probably put them under the command of the High King, send them down to White and deal with this. We have an alliance for Tovna's marriage. I might even just send down the High King's army on its own. I don't think there's much of a need to do much else. Does the High King have an army? We'll put him. I like having him in charge of the onagers. Seems to be the place to be. So we'll send him down onto the island, and we'll just bring these guys down just to watch. It's maybe a bit of a pointless expense to keep them standing. If we can crush our army, if we can hit them in battle, I might stand those 3,800 down. Gilaforic seems to be doing a lot of work. I don't know what kind of work he's doing, but he's doing a lot of work. That's actually mad. You don't know what's on the island. So we could be marching across Oh, it was just coloured really weird for some reason. Okay. I thought it was that we didn't actually know where her forces were. Zooming around to see what we can see. I'm pretty confident we can stand these guys down. We can't, because they have to go back to somewhere else. What? Wait, what? Temnon left prison, then he was imprisoned, then he left prison again. That was a bad week for him. My wife, Empress Astrid, is hiding something about our daughter. I'm certain of it. The furtive glances, her protectiveness of Ulach, the way she avoids all my inquiries. I do not question the heritage of my daughter Ulach lightly, but doubt is gnawing at my mind. I need to make sure we cannot have House Scotorum sullied with illegitimate members. 16 kids. 15 would be an acceptable number. I need to be sure, 65% that we discover the truth, or 34% that my fears are unfounded. My Chancellor, Duke Anamchoid, has been wounded and the injury runs deep. I fear that his body is not strong enough to fight this on his own. I feel death lingering by his bedside. I don't know, is he the founder of the Caed Cahach Wigtown? He is indeed, by the looks of it. That's those battles up in the north with the Isle of Man. I don't even know what's going on up there. It doesn't look like there is anything that can be done. His health is poor. The fact that he does be baiting the living hells out of himself with a belt, that probably doesn't help matters. We're back up to another faction. We'll check that in a second. We'll finish off the siege of the Isle of Wight. I thought maybe they were landing some forces in Dublin. They're not. Well, it would have been a lot handier if you had just given me the county day one. They're telling us we have a dangerous faction. I'm not too sure whether it's the failed attempt to install somebody in Scotland or whether it is the county control. Not too sure. Poor old Denise, we've stripped her county from her. We're going to demand her conversion and let her go. I won't even force her to renounce her claims. Go off. Peace never lasts long for one of the most powerful entities in Europe. I think one of the only empires in Europe. We're being called in to Würzburg's claim on Wildburg. We will accept. We're told that the new Count of Wight is able to marry the daughter of the Duke of Essex and East Anglia. The devil. Accept that proposal and solidify that alliance. We can see where the target is from our overseas holdings. Moylon has been swayed again. Let's see if he'll accept vassalization. So I'll pause that quickly. He is at -7. Do you know what? I think that would be absolutely brilliant if that was the last thing that we did before bringing this the series to an end. While I think of it, I meant to ask this question at the start. Who do the viewers, the people who have stayed with this series for 50 episodes, or maybe those who've wandered in towards the end or in the middle, who do you guys think of as the top 3 Irish High Kings of all time? We have a nice list to select from. Flann Sinna, the first Flann Sinna, who defended Ireland from Norse invasion. Green Grafador, who began our conquest off the island of Ireland. Flann Sinna II, his depraved rule, which put in place many of the reasons for pushing into northern England. Then you had, who would the next great ruler be? Moltoli, who lost and re-established the kingdom. Ruachan I and his amazing military achievements. Ruachan II, the emperor, and his amazing military achievements. And as we consider the greatest High Kings, what about those who never ruled? The likes of Eilgal the First, whose name we saw pop up a few times, Rian, whose son died on this episode. Of course, more than likely, at the very head of the list would be Cuchurcamur. And as I try to find knights to command my armies, that's a tough one. The 5 greatest knights of the kingdom. Some of them might yet be given an opportunity to increase their prestige and their glory. We're being called into a war. West Franconia is laying claim to Koblenz. So all of our allies are now taking advantage of our power and might. Isn't it just handy that we're already in the region? So I think an overwhelming West Franconian force is going to head in this direction. So we're gonna have to pull our armies north a bit. Maybe pull them out of the actual sieges that they're in. We'll be able to regroup and hit these guys easily enough. It's easy enough to think of some of the more recent knights, the likes of Matt Strangi, Giles. I had his name forgotten. They've ran away from me. Ulfus, Erika. Erika was one of our main head rippers. Gudbrand, our head ripper in chief for a very long period of time. And what about way back to the days of the original Flann Sinna? We had some great knights back in those days as well, and they're difficult to remember. Cuchurcamur, do you know, he wasn't the worst knight. Nor was Diarmid, who served the first High King, led the traipse around Norway after our accidental conquest. My spymaster. I can't remember when I made you my spymaster. I thought you were my spymaster. You are, but you're sitting on the opposite side. She's found out that Duke Urgal is plotting to kill David. He's not the worst, but he's not the best. What about... Because I know he's now up to a 41 prowess. I don't know where he is. There's the High King's army, so we've made a small bit of a mistake. We need to send you in. And where can we move you to? To there. Duke Aoife, he's now up to a 41 prowess. We'll put Dovdaleha in command of the army. I didn't really think about this, but what about the greatest chancellors, or the greatest people to serve in administrative capacity? Our greatest marshals. But one question that I did think of, here's Duke Eilgal. There are certain families which have given tremendous service. Eilgal the First was a great diplomat, if I remember correctly. He's also serving... Eilgal the Second is serving as a knight. We will appoint him. He's an insightful thinker and a scholar, more so than an actual grey eminence. We'll assign him anyway, keep him happy. But I was thinking about this for a while, like, who were the greatest High Kings, who were the greatest knights, what were the greatest battles? The Battle of Armagh, the Battle of... that battle in Kent, where the Queen came in and saved the battle and allowed Popo's forces to come in and save us. But what about the 5 greatest Irish High Queens? I can name tons of our knights. I can name tons of our knights, and I can name tons of our kings. I'd find a great difficulty in naming any of our actual queens, though. But some of them have given tremendous service. Everyone's given tremendous service. Everyone gets a badge. But who were the queens that really kept us alive? secured alliances. There's Hildeburg. That alliance with West Francia in the early days was tremendously beneficial to us. Giselia, holding off the forces of Kent and allowing King Popo to come in. Some of our wives, most of them were put as spy masters to keep us alive. And of course there was the Doctor's plot and the wives there who betrayed us. Temnon has been captured again. How many times has he been captured? Oh, Temnon, you fool. I don't think we'll see out this war. I think I'm going to bring the playthrough to an end in a few minutes. In the midst of this entire conflict, I do want to see if the forces will give us any hassle. If there's going to be a major engagement, the last major engagement, before the playthrough ends. But like I said, there's no coherent end. However, we will have Prince Moelón Mac Cuilan, the former King of England, accept vassalization and join the Empire. Shortly before his own death, presumably. He's 68 years of age. He's shoving up there. His father, Cuilan, he's the same age as his father was when he died. With over 9,000 troops deployed to 2 wars in Central Europe under the command of the Emperor in the year 1077, I think that is a fitting place to call this playthrough to an end. We're still about 2 years out from completing the city and forming a holy order. It's something that I'll be revisiting later on because I do want to actually address them in an episode on Irish history and how it's presented in Crusader Kings 3. I'll be making more content. I'll be returning to this topic. Looking at some ways of maybe improving insular Christianity. One of the main reasons that I did this playthrough was because I wanted to actually play the game and make comments on some of the suggestions that I made in my Insular Christianity video, my hour-long rant on Insular Christianity. So I'm going to go back and I'm going to, now that I've played the game, now that I've actually used Insular Christianity, seen its advantages and disadvantages, do my arguments still hold up from what I made in that video? 50 episodes. I didn't think it was going to be this long. Thank you all very much for joining in. Congratulations to those of you who have made it through 50 videos. Welcome to those of you who've maybe only just popped in for the last few. What an amazing group of men we have here. If we go all the ways back, we'll take one last look at them. High King Flann Sinna Uí Néill formed the Kingdom of Ireland. Passed it on to his son, High King Green Grafador, who pushed into Scotland as well. His son was elected as King of Scotland, was deposed, still held on to Gary, then was killed, and Green Grafador inherited it and pushed into Scotland, seeking to stabilise the area. It was collapsing under Norse pressure and was beginning to threaten Ireland. His brother, nobody was supporting his son Cúchar Mór. His brother Geralt died, and so we then looked to cement the rule of his brother Ruacán, his half-brother Ruacán. Oh no, his full brother Ruacán, so it was his half-brother Liachnán. Ruacán was a deviant, a sadist, a torturer. He ruled for just 2 years. A civil war broke out, and of course he was a civil war led by his half-brother Liachnán's son. No, it was his half-brother Geralt's son, Liachnán. I'm getting confused. And Cúchar Mór. And in the midst of it, in the midst of the dramatic Battle of Armagh, High King, well, I shouldn't say High King, he was just Flann Sinna at the time, was wounded, but he also sent a box of gold, a poisoned box of gold, to Ruacán, which contributed to his death. Flann Sinna, dear God, what do we say about Flann Sinna? We got the achievement for seducing 10 people with Flann Sinna. I think he had about 20 kids. He began paying an unhealthy interest in northern England. I think it was a period of very limited actual military expansion. I don't think we spent much time on the continent under him. And of course, one of his children was passed off as a child of his predecessor's son. So, Ruacon's son, Urgal, but it was actually Flann Sinna's child. And the child was named Ruacon after his grandfather. Or after who everyone thought was his grandfather, but of course he wasn't. Flann Sinna was the first person to die of anything other than old age. Now, of course, we know that Ruacon actually died as part of an assassination attempt. Moltoli. Again, we were trying to solidify Cuchurcamuir to succeed Flann Sinna, and instead what happened is Cuchurcamuir pushed into England, abandoned the High Kingship. It fell to his son, Moltoli. The kingdom was ripped apart. 2 High Kings actually served in between here. Blachmach challenged Moltoli to a duel, seized the High Kingship from him. He was then murdered. Then it was Moltoli's brother who inherited. The kingdom was then destroyed. Moltoli painstakingly reassembled it with nothing more than the Isle of Man, the Duchy of Man to his name. So that's another reason why we're very grateful to the Manx and Lancaster branch of the family, descendants of Flann Sinna II. Ciarán, we don't really have much to say about poor old Ciarán. Ciarán ruled for just 15 months. He was already wounded when he came to power. He was an angry man. I think he died from his wounds, didn't he? He did indeed died from his wounds. Basically, it was just a vicious and bloody regime. That's really all that Ciarán did for 15 months. And here is that Ruacon that I mentioned a while ago. He's described as a grandson of Ruacon I, but he's actually a son of Flann Sinna II. From one of his affairs. Looks like it was never discovered. He was the first stable ruler, the oldest ruler, first and only ruler to survive into his 70s. Prior to him, 66 was the eldest anyone had survived. I kept saying, this is it, this is the last episode, this is the one that he dies in. Nah, he kept going, he kept on going. 77 years of age, scholar, greatly increased the development of the kingdom. Probably one of our greatest high kings ever. And then it went to Quillan. Who was Quillan descended from? He was a son of Moltoli, established a branch of the family to claim descent from Grian Grafador, the second High King. He wasn't the best. A lot of military mistakes under him. The battle for Kent took, oh man, was that like 2 or 3 years? His ego, he usurped the Kingdom of England, and that led to tremendous problems for us. Because, of course, on his death, we lost the Kingdom of England, and Ruacon II's son, Erika, had to go through all that argy-bargy all over again to re-establish it. If Quillan hadn't usurped England, we might have gotten the empire faster, but then again, the conquest of England took 17 months under Erika. Definitely our greatest martial leader ever. Definitely the greatest expansive king ever. I mean, he must have conquered over 50 territories in his regime. Does it tell us how many battles he took part in? 27 wars, 11 offensive, 16 defensive. I think that is a new record. I think that is a record. I think if we go back to the very first High King, 21 wars. That's because there was a lot of counties to fight. Ruacon, I think, was in a lot of wars as well. 17. I was surprised that he was only in 17. Yeah. 27 wars. 23 for Moltoli, of course. Yeah, again, he had a tremendous amount. No, it was he kept being dragged into defensive wars. That's why he had so many. So that is the lineage of the Emperor. On the one hand, I would like to have had him pass away in this episode, so we could have seen what the succession would look like. But on the other hand, I think it is fitting. It is just fitting that we end this entire playthrough during the reign of the first emperor, and we can imagine where his life will go from here and where his descendants will go. Will they push into Brittany? Will they push into Europe? Will they assist in the restoration of Catholicism? Will they push insular Christianity into Europe? Will he be killed in battle in the next few months? Who knows? I have tremendously enjoyed this playthrough. I've enjoyed the stories that I've been able to tell, the characters that I have got to witness, but most of all, I have enjoyed reading the comments that people have left on these videos, the parts that they find interesting. Thank you all very much for your support all along, and I do mean that. I wouldn't have kept going if people weren't interested, or if people weren't reacting in the way that they were. There's been a kind of a constant, every time a new video goes up, there's been a constant group that watches each new one, and thank you all very, very much, and welcome to those of you who are coming in and maybe you're catching up with this a month or two or a year or two after it's been recorded. It'll be interesting to see how this holds up as new patches come out, as new DLC come out, as the Pope is patched in as the head of insular Christianity, whether people will be interested in watching an older playthrough like this. But like I said, thank you all for the support. There'll be new videos coming, there'll be a new series coming at some point in time in the future. I'll be starting in the 1066 start date. There'll be new videos of Irish history in Crusader Kings 3 and in other video games. I'll be looking at some other games and seeing how Ireland is represented there. It's been fun. It's been fun. If it's been nothing else, it has been tremendous fun. Thank you for joining me on this series, and I hope to see you again in future.